December, and that means it's time for warm and fragrant pastries. And in my household, apple strudel is an absolute favorite. When time allows, I will start apple strudel by making my own phyllo dough. Tonight I don't have time, so I'm just going to use ready phyllo dough. And in this recipe, we're going to use a whole pound of the other ingredients are fresh apples, and I'm going to go with 6 large apples, a cup of dry raisins, cup and a half of brown sugar, and olive oil. We're going to start with half a cup, and then we're going to add additional 3/4 cup of olive oil. So we'll start with cleaning apples, and this is my way of cleaning apples, which saves more of apple, but it takes longer. If you don't have time, you can just use one of these apple cutters and just get the stem out and the core, just clean them like this. And again, this is the way I like to do it. Just cut the apple in half, then on a quarter, and what's wasted is just this little part here, and you just go from the other side, and this is pretty much all you get, but all you lose from the apple. Again, it takes a little longer, but I don't mind doing it. Majority of recipes will call for peeled apples. I'm purposely leaving my apples with skin on, just for the extra fiber. But if you prefer, you could peel your apples, and also some apple strudel recipes call for shredded apples, which could be nice. And again, you can use the same recipe with the shredded apples, shredded and peeled, that is. But I'm going the easier way. I want a bigger chunks of apples inside, and I'm also preserving the skin. To cut apples, I'm going to add half a cup of olive oil, and I am accustomed to baking with olive oil. If you don't like the order of the olive oil, then you're welcome to use just any other oil that you prefer in your cooking. And to that, I'm also going to add a cup and a half of brown sugar. All right, and now we're going to put it on the stove and cook it on a medium high for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We really don't want to cook apples. All we want is to warm them up really good so they release the juices. About 7 minutes into cooking, apples will release the juices, and this is about the time that we're going to take them off. We don't need to really cook them because they are going to in the oven and they're going to bake very soon. To finish off the apple filling, I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. This is about a half a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of raisins, and I decided to put some walnuts. I had some ground walnuts in my freezer. I'm going to put about a cup of ground walnuts, and I'm going to grab some cinnamon. I think about half a teaspoon will be fine. Now I'm going to mix it all really well. I normally use a cream of wheat in my filling, but today I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to go with a half a cup of quick oats. The reason we would use cream of wheat or oats, it's pretty much to suck up all the juices and to combine apples together. A great tip if you work with phyllo dough is always not to open it until you are absolutely ready to start. And I have found the packages where the package of phyllo dough is packed into 2 individual packages, which actually helps. So you open the phyllo dough, and we're just going to lay it on a flat surface, like your counter. And then we're going to start layering about 5 or 6 different layers. And in between each layer, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. If you prefer, you can also use butter in between. But as I said, I'm used to cooking with olive oil, and I think the recipe is just as good. If you run into troubles with these sheets, if they are breaking on you or you have any issues, just try to patch them up the best you can. And on the long run, it really wouldn't make a big difference. Now that we have 5 or 6 sheets of phyllo dough, we're going to lay apple filling in between and wrap it up. A little bit of olive oil at the bottom of the baking pan first. And then we're just going to layer them in a nice row. Here comes the first one. And this is our finishing strudel, finishing touch. And in regard to apples, You can use pretty much any apples. Some are better for baking than others, and I have often used Fuji apples. They are great for the strudel, but I end up pretty much using whatever is on a sale, and pretty much they all work. More or less, they all work. Add some apples on the top for the decoration. All right, and I'm going to put a little bit more of oil on the top. And in addition to half a cup of olive oil that we used for the apples, I have ended up using another half a cup of olive oil in between the layers of the filling dough. And now it's ready for baking. I'm going to bake it on 360 for about 20 minutes. 25 minutes into baking, and we are looking done. All we need now is a homemade caramel. Making caramel is far easier than you can even imagine. So in one of our next videos, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious homemade caramel. I have some impatient customers waiting for the apple strudel, and although the strudel is still very hot, I'm going to go ahead and serve it to my kids. Here it goes. Of course, this is not one portion. This is enough for 3 or 4 of us. We're just going to serve it like this. And what goes better with apples than homemade caramel? And this caramel is to die for. And as I said, I will share the recipe and I will teach you how to do this in one of our next videos. That was it. It was so simple, and there was really nothing to it. It's all about making homemade recipes that are easy with everyday ingredients. I hope you're encouraged, and I hope you too will try to make something like this for your children. I love the crunchy sound. It's looking promising, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and look at this beautiful filling of apples and walnuts. Just love it.